And our next guest, we've got John Gallagher joining us to talk about an interesting case going on in Florida. You never know what you're going to get coming out of the state of Florida. But now we have regulators down there asking the FMCSA for an exemption on how the CDL test is administered. And John, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, right? They're asking if an applicant fails either the pre-trip inspection or the basic skills test of their CDL test, that they just be led on to finish the exam and then come back and fix it at a later date. Why is this happening?
Well, yeah, like you said, the exemption they're asking for, it's pretty straightforward, as you mentioned. So right now, the state of Florida, I mean, so basically the reason I want to do is they want to, it's mostly from what I just saw the application was just posted today. I didn't have the actual application yesterday, but I was just reading through the application. It's pretty short, but the biggest part of it is that it seems they want to boost the capacity of their CDL testing regime, because they're what's called a third-party testing state, which means most of their testing, most of the CDL testing that goes on in Florida is done by third-party testers that the DMV sort of contracts out. So right now, as you said, just to go on the process. So go to the process. Right now, it's you have your knowledge portion, the classroom portion, then you have your skills testing portion, and the skills testing is divided into three parts. Your the pre-trip inspection, as you mentioned, and the vehicle control skills, and then you have the on-road skills, and it's supposed to be administered in that order. So, like you said, if you fail the one part, you're right now you're not allowed to continue on. You have to come back another day and take all three. So that skills to the pre-trip inspection apparently is the most failed. The reason they're doing this is that first part that you have to pass, the pre-trip inspection, is apparently the most failed part of those three. So when they get this exemption, the tester, now using their discretion, it's not like a blanket thing, but the tester, or they don't have to allow that, but the tester can allow it if they want to continue to test the basic skills, the on-road and the vehicle control. And if they do, if they do fail that pre-trip inspection, and then if they, like you said, if they pass the next two, they have to. I think they said in the application that it has to be at least 2 days later where you would come back and just do the part that you failed, the pre-trip inspection, most likely. So, they also said these tests take about 2 hours. The whole skills test takes about 2 hours, or around 2 hours to complete. And they have to schedule it 2 days in advance. So, it doesn't seem like it would be a big time saver, but they also note in the application that over the last 12 months, the third-party testers administered the CDL test to 35,000 drivers. So that can add up to a lot of time and effort on the part of both the applicants and the testers themselves. So like I said, they basically it's a way to shore up testers, so they don't. Right now, they have to go to the third party guys go from location to location to take the test. So this would kind of speed up. They wouldn't spend as much time in each location, and your basic staffing level would be more efficient, and it would just it would take a little less time to. If you add up all that time for just the applicants themselves, that speeds up the whole process of getting your CDL, the overall process of getting a CDL too.
And John, it certainly is alarming that this is the most failed part of the test, and really it definitely seems to be the most critical as well, because it's such a huge safety feature. When we're looking at Florida taking this stance or looking to push this exemption through, are they alone, or are there other states that have done anything like this? Because this seems like an extreme move potentially.
Yeah, actually, no. From what I understand, they're the only ones that have done it so far. Now, the Commercial Vehicle Training Association, they told me that they want to encourage other states to do this, just because it would because it would kind of speed up the process or make the process easier. Now, they said in their application, when you get an exemption, you have to get approved for an exemption from FMCSA. You have to show, the standard is you have to show that by granting the exemption, safety is not compromised at all. The safety standards are at least the same, if not improved. But they have to at least be, the safety has to at least be the same. And Florida, the Florida DMV is basically saying that, these are certified trainers. They go through a big certification process, and they also point to the fact that the entry-level driver training rule that went into effect last year requires that you have you're proficient in your driving skills earlier on, so that these people taking these have already shown that they're proficient in driving skills generally. Now that doesn't go to your point. I guess you can make the argument that the pre-trip inspection isn't really a driving skills thing, but it's something that you should know beforehand, which is the whole reason they put that first in those three parts. So that's a good point. I mean, it's a good point that this potentially could be a problem, I guess. And I would bet they have 30 days for a comment period on this. So I'm assuming that. Obviously, CVSA already said they're going to encourage more, so they're going to be on board for it. But you can imagine some of these truck safety groups that whenever there's an exemption that looks to kind of lighten the regulatory load, they're very suspect and usually push back on these exemptions. So, it should be interesting to see how that comment period shakes out.
I was going to say, John, you posted the story yesterday on freightwaves.com. You've already got over a dozen comments from drivers up there saying, you know what, I'm not sure that this is worth trading safety for speed, but I guess we'll see how it shakes out in those comments. Thank you for joining us this morning, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, you guys.
Kaylee, if this does pass, I would be interested to see if they track those drivers that have had those exemptions compared to the incidences of drivers that don't have it. It'd be kind of interesting to see.
It'll be interesting data to see for sure. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be right back with more FreightWaves Now right after this.